know what? You're fired. And he said, what? I said, you heard me. You're fired. Get out of my room. And he says, you can't fire me. I said, you want to bet? I just did it. Get out. He said, well, you have to have an admitting doctor. I said, that's fine. I have one. I said, get Dr. Jordan. He'll be my admitting doctor, and he'll be the one that'll take care of me. I said, he's not going to do anything any different than you, except he knows my history, and he'll get the consultation for the lungs pulmonary specialist and all the other specialists that I need. But you are going to get out of my room now, or I'm calling security. Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you today about your rights in both the hospital setting and when you go see your doctor. There seems to be a lot of people that doesn't know your rights. I can tell you 20 years in nursing and hundreds of CEUs, continuing education units, classes. You and only you can be your only advocate. And when I say this, is that, you know, when grandma's in a hospital or nursing homes, usually a power of attorney becomes her mouth, and that's her advocate. But as long as you are healthy and you are sane, you are your only advocate. Now, your nurse can speak up for you, because sometimes when you're in the hospital, you're a little bit more timid, and and I will tell you that some of the residents will try to intimidate you, and they will if you let them. I'll tell you some examples. My very first time big surgery I had was in 2011, and it was a huge procedure, and I kept getting sick, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. I kept getting C. diff. I kept getting really bad urinary tract infections to the point where I couldn't pee. I had to have a catheter put in. I mean, they wanted me to wait until I had like 1,200 cc's in my bladder before they let the nurses cath me. And finally, I was like, the nurse was like, no, we're not doing this. We're going to keep the catheter in, and we'll talk to Dr. Jordan. Okay, that's good. Thank you. And I was put on a TPN, which is total parenteral nutrition, that goes through your, if you have a PICC line or if you have a port, like what I've got, and that gives you nutrition. And so I was given that, and I was in a hospital at that time for a month. And I also got a DVT, a blood clot, behind my left knee. Now, mind you, I'm up and I'm walking as I can, because I keep getting bowel obstruction after bowel obstruction, and it's not textbook blood clot. And so I have this gung-ho resident come in my room, and he says, if you don't start doing this, if you don't start doing that, I've gotten physical therapy and OT and blah, 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 and if you don't start doing it, I'm putting you in a nursing home. And I look at him and I say, no, you're not putting me in a nursing home. I know my rights. I'm alert, and I'm stable, and I know what I can and can't do, and I know what my rights are, and you're not going to do that. So I talked to my surgeon, who he's the fellow under, and he made him apologize to me. Okay, that's just one instant. So, you know, over the courses of the years, and many, many hospitalizations, and many, many surgeries, and then in 2014, oh my God, that was a nightmare. I was in and out of the hospital so much. The last time I was in the hospital in 2014 was in December. I'd had well, let's see, we'll have to do it like this, because in order for you to understand what had happened, I have to go back. So, in October 2014, I had, which once you have one, you always get them. I had a hernia near my ileostomy site, and it was causing blockages. So they did all these tests on me, and then I got pneumonia. So before they could do surgery on me, they had to get rid of my pneumonia. Well, they stuck a tube down my nose. And long story short, you don't stick anything down my nose, and you don't tell me you're not getting rid of this or that, because I will pull it out. So they kind of kept me really drugged up so I could get rid of the pneumonia, and we could keep this crap out of my stomach till I could have my surgery. So a week later, I had my surgery, and I have everything removed. And as my doctor explained it to me was, okay, so I no longer have my large intestines, and I always call it colon because that's what it is for most people that don't know. It is your large intestines. And so while he was at it, he took out my appendix. So if I had pain there, they know it's not my appendix. And it took out the rectum, and it sewed me up. So I have like a Barbie butt, because a Barbie doesn't have anything there. And so the way he explained it was, I now have a pool of blood, because I no longer have the colon to hold all of my small intestines in place. So there's just a pool of blood down there. And I had a drainage tube in the front of my stomach. So then I came back in November, and it was because I had a infection in my blood. And the drainage tube that was in my stomach wasn't big enough, and they tried saying I pulled it out. Well, I came into the hospital with it, and my daughter took me to the hospital, and while she was helping me in the bathroom, I don't know, one of us stepped on the bag, and it came out, and I never even noticed it until someone said something about it. Well, then they put it in my chart that I pulled it out, and that's a lie. So the doctors kept in, well, we had to put in another one. So they put in another one, and they did not numb me enough. They didn't have me drugged up enough, and I felt every bit of it, because they went through the gluteal muscles and all the way down into my stomach. So, well, not my stomach, my abdominals, because your stomach is a totally separate organ. But we always call it our stomach. So then I'm there, and then they're saying it's still not, because I'm passing blood clots. And it had reopened because I was still having stitches in my new Barbie butt, and it busted through some of the stitches, and now I have an opening that will never close, because the blood clots had to find a way out, and they found a way out through that way. And so then they said that they have to get a bigger drainage tube in, and I bawled, and I cried, and I was scared, because the last one, I felt everything. I mean, it was miserable. And then by the end, I was finally passed out. So when they did this last one, he told the nurse, well, she tolerated this very well, so she pushed it all at once. And then I said, I still feel that. He said, you do. And so he told her, told her to give me some more. Well, from the get-go, I said I wanted an air mattress. And so I had an air mattress, and that helped tremendously. But so I went home with these drainage tubes. So I come back, and it didn't matter how many times I wiped my backside or how many times I washed it. Every time I stood up, blood came out. And so then I had to go to the ER because my home health nurse said that to her it sounded like I had a pulmonary embolism. Either had that or pleurisy. So she called the ambulance, and I was taken to the hospital. And at the hospital, I heard some rude remarks about that they could see blood on the back of my panties when my back of my gown wasn't, and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't even care, because you don't even know what the hell I've been through, and I can't get the blood to stop, and it doesn't matter that I got these big old pads on, and it just keeps on coming, and I don't even care. You talk what you want to talk about. I don't care. So I get admitted with pulmonary embolism, and I'm extremely scared. I'm upset because I know the complications, and I know one of the end results. So I call my husband. He calls work and says, I don't know how long she's going to be off, but I'm not leaving her side. So I get admitted, and I'm not admitted with none of my doctors. I'm admitted with the hospitalist. The hospitalist decides he's going to be a jackass. Mind you, I had been in the hospital for about a month and a half with less than a week home in between, and I'm on a fentanyl patch. I'm being given Percocet 10s. I can't remember how often I was allowed to have them. But anyway, and every time I've been in a hospital, I'm allowed to have them, have Dilaudid every 3 hours, and Phenergan every 3 hours, and Zofran every 6, and I can alternate all of that. So, yeah, he was a real ass. And he told me, he said, no, I'm not giving you any more than, every 6 hours. I'm saying, you obviously do not know who I am. You don't know my history, and you're putting me through hell for no reason. And during all this, it's putting my heart in overload, because it was in like the 4th chamber of my left lung, and come to find out my right lung was partially collapsed. So I don't remember, it was the second day, I think, the day after I was admitted, and he come into my room asking me this question and that question. Why are you afraid to go home? I'm not afraid to go home, but you're an idiot if you're sending me home. You can't send me home, the one day after telling me I have a pulmonary embolism. You have to run heparin on me. You can't make me get up and walk. I'm not an idiot, And he just kept on and kept on and kept on. I'm like, dude, get out of my room. Go read my chart. So he just kept on. I said, you know what? You're fired. And he said, what? I said, you heard me. You're fired. Get out of my room. And he says, you can't fire me. I said, you want to bet? I just did it. Get out. He said, well, you have to have an admitting doctor. I said, that's fine. I have one. I said, get Dr. Jordan. He'll be my admitting doctor, and he'll be the one that'll take care of me. I said, he's not going to do anything any different than you, except he knows my history, and he'll get the consultation for the lungs pulmonary specialist and all the other specialists that I need. But you are going to get out of my room now, or I'm calling security. I never seen him again. So don't let people bully you. You have the rights. It's your health, not theirs. And, sometimes these doctors don't read your charts. They don't know your background, and nor do they care to know about your background. You have to advocate for yourself. And a lot of the nurses like me that are at Norton Hospital, they know my history. They know I'm a very sick person. And they know that when I'm in there, I'm not playing. There's a reason why I'm in there. The last 2 times I was hospitalized, I thought it was for Crohn's. And it wasn't Crohn's. It was gastroparesis. But I had all the symptoms of having a bowel obstruction. But it wasn't. It was gastroparesis. And they just sent me home. So, you need to be sure that you advocate for yourself. Because if you don't, it might turn out okay. But then again, you might get home and might not make it. I'm not trying to make it sound bad. But some doctors just don't care. They're there for the money. I mean, hospitalists don't see you in the office. They only see you while you're in the hospital. So they're getting hospital pay. I mean, they get to be a doctor. They're not on call. They don't have to deal with you in the office. I mean, I don't know how much more I can tell you. Advocate for yourself. And if you can't, find somebody that's going to advocate for you when you're knocked out on drugs or when you are in surgery. And my husband is that advocator for me. Because it really upsets me when I go around and I'm looking at other people's videos, and they're asking questions, and it's just like, well, you have to ask for yourself. You have to stand up. And it's gonna make a nurse, it's gonna make a doctor mad, but don't be worried about making them mad. It's your health, not theirs. So, if you have any questions, I will try to answer them. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out for you. I'm only telling you from my experience and my 20 years in nursing, what I know, what I've experienced, and what I've done. So I hope what I have told you will help you. You guys have a blessed day.